And she maybe she left. No, I see her stop though. I know she's around. Okay, got it. Thank you.
I'm like comfortable for you, and then once I stand, and then I'm gonna stand right next to him.
If I go home and they literally like 8 months they just give her addicts. Like, oh, it's stomach.
Hi, everybody. We're going to get started in about 3 minutes. Thank you all so much for being here in support. We need to stick to a really tight run of show this morning, so please, 1 to 2 minutes. Please stick to your time. Thank you so much for respecting the time of your colleagues and making sure everybody can get to votes on time. Any questions? Nope. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Besides when they were I know. Thank you so much. That's true. I wear them.
Oh,
Your sign is upside down.
Thank you. I know. So I actually didn't. Great.
Step one step back. One step back.
I'm okay.
But you know what? You get it first. Exactly. You're great. Great.
Does it look like
I also want yeah, Lizzie, if you need help, I think this is the I'm a vice chair of the CHC. What about your chair? And they're in leadership. Here he comes.
Everyone step back into the street.
The street
is closed. You're safe.
I think I have my butt.
Can we step back?
Hey guys, we're gonna get started, so if you can please leave room on the left-hand side.
We've been waiting. You're quiet. We've been waiting. I know. We've been waiting.
She's been on my case this morning, man. She told me I was going to speak, and she said, "Change that attitude."
Mic check.
Talking about attitude. Good morning, everybody. You train her. What's going on?
Mic check.
Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome all our members of Congress, the different caucuses that are here, particularly the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, that's been doing a tremendous job with immigration. We saw our member Joaquin Castro this week lead bringing back Leanne Conejo back to his house, walked them back to his house. We want to thank you, Joaquin, for your humanity, your commitment to justice. And of course, yesterday we got a favorable ruling by a federal court saying that we could enter any detention center without prior notice. So we're going to be able to exercise our oversight responsibilities and duties without any impairment or pushback from ICE or the secretary. And finally, you know, there's a whole series of proposals, including unmasking ICE, submitted by Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, that is a common sense proposal. That how could someone enforce the law while being anonymous, without a first name, a last name, and a shield number? We want to make sure that the proposals that are being put forward by Dr. Ruiz, by Delia Ramirez, by Sylvia Garcia, by Nydia Velázquez, and others that are here are taken seriously, and that this agency, ICE, is dismantled. Just like you dismantle anything that doesn't work. When something doesn't work, you take it apart. You make sure that you put it in the trash and you buy new parts. And so this is what we need to do. We need to dismantle it. And on the way there, the person leading the agency, who has been at watch, under her watch, has seen these atrocities, including the killing, the shooting of 2 U.S. citizens, should step down or be impeached. So we're here to support Congresswoman Robin Kelly's bill that would impeach Secretary Noem. And we're here to say that immigration and ICE has gone full circle, and the American people see it for what it is. They see ICE for what it is, an abusive agency that goes around our cities and neighborhoods, threatening and terrorizing families, hardworking families, that all they want to do is bring food to our table, take care of our children and our frail elderly. And we pay our taxes while we do that. So you see this, the diversity of support that we're getting here today from the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus, the Women's Caucus, the New Dems are here with us today. This issue has gone full circle, and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is saying enough is enough. 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 Just checking on you, Nydia. So with that, I want to bring to the podium someone that knows this issue really well. I served with her dad. I'm a young guy. Come on. I served with her dad, who was the first Asian American elected to the state legislature in New York State. And now she has been here for some years representing us with distinction. From the borough of Queens in New York, Congresswoman Grace Meng.
Thank you so much to Chairman Espaillat. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from New York, chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. The Asians are here too. Thank you so much to my colleagues, our advocates, and to everyone who braved this cold morning to demand accountability from DHS. We are here today to say loud and clear, Kristi Noem has got to go. Has got to go. Kristi Noem has got to go. No federal agency, and especially not ICE, gets to operate above the law. And that is exactly what is happening under Kristi Noem's failed leadership. Unidentified masked men are kidnapping people off the streets based solely on their accent or their appearance. Violent thugs are barging into homes without warrants, just like they did to an elderly Hmong American man, Chong Lee Tao in Minnesota, who was handcuffed and dragged outside in the snow in just his underwear and sandals. This man was not a violent criminal or the worst of the worst, as Donald Trump likes to claim. He was a father, an uncle, a son, and he was an American citizen. But to the thugs unleashed on our streets, who have been granted permission by this administration to act with impunity, Chong Lee's citizenship does not matter. In fact, these thugs are willing to shoot American citizens in cold blood, as we've seen with the horrible murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. These federal agents are supposed to keep our communities safe. So let me ask all of you here today, do you feel safer? No. No matter whether you are a Democrat, Republican, or independent, we can all agree that what we are seeing is a betrayal of our American values that we hold dear. The lawlessness must end, and it must end now. And mark my words, justice and accountability will come. It's not a matter of if, just a matter of when. Thank you, and I yield to Congresswoman Lucy McBath, Second Vice Chair of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here. It's imperative that we be here. I'm Congresswoman Lucy McBath, Second Vice Chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and proud representative of Georgia's 6th Congressional District. I want to thank the leaders of our caucuses today that you have around us. Congressman Adriano Espaillat, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez, Congressman Brad Schneider, Congressman Greg Casar, and all of my Democratic colleagues for their presence here today. Like so many Americans, we are outraged by what we continue to see in our American cities on our streets daily. ICE is operating without guardrails. We have seen violence, chaos, and lawlessness in Minnesota, in my state of Georgia, and in communities across America. It cannot stand. We have watched our neighbors terrorized and brutalized. We have seen innocent Americans killed in cold blood by masked ICE agents who believe that they are above the law. Agents funded by American taxpayer dollars, yet apparently they are accountable to no one. Let's be clear. The presence of ICE in our communities is not about public safety. This is about stoking fear, silencing peaceful dissent, and turning Americans against one another. This is a direct attack on civil rights and due process to target communities of color, instilling fear in Black, Latino, Asian, and immigrant communities, and anyone who dares to speak out against the Trump administration. Kristi Noem has refused to provide Congress or the American people with the transparency and the justice that we and the families of those murdered by masked agents deserve and demand. This depravity starts at the top, and she must be held accountable. She must resign or face impeachment. The Congressional Black Caucus and House Democrats will not back down. We are not backing down, and we will continue standing with our communities because they deserve that and so much more. And to our neighbors who have chosen to protest peacefully, stay strong, stay peaceful, and rise above the chaos. The right to protest, to speak out against injustice is fundamental to our democracy. It's protected by our Constitution. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up. And now it is my privilege to introduce to you and welcome Representative Teresa Ledger Fernandez. She is the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus.
Buenos dias todos. ¿Cómo están? How is everybody this morning? Isn't it a nice day to suggest that Kristi Noem head out and no longer occupy this office? No more. So I really want to take it to what women are facing, right? Women, especially Latinas and Asian American women and women of color are not safe in Trump's America. We're not safe walking down the street, not driving home, not when masked men jump out of their car to smash your car window and pull you out. We are not safe when they are using our children as bait. And under Kristi Noem's leadership, taking her direction from Steve Miller and President Trump, she has turned ICE into a place where cruelty is the purpose, where hatred is the strategy to divide America. We all saw the tragic killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. But did you see the video of ICE pinning a pregnant woman down into the snow and kneeling on her back? That is horrendous. Shame. And what's happening behind the camera? In detention centers, women are reporting being shackled and chained while miscarrying. How can you say you value life when you shackle a woman who is pregnant and miscarrying? How can you say you value life when you allow women in detention centers to be sexually assaulted and abused on a regular basis, denied prenatal care, denied food and water, when you allow a woman to be assaulted and the assaulting officer, the assaulting agent, the assaulting horrendous human being saying, I will let you see pictures of your child in exchange. That is cruelty. That is the kind of thing that we are denouncing. And if Kristi Noem won't go on her own, if President Trump doesn't tell her to step down, Democrats in Congress, we will impeach Kristi Noem. No must go. Okay, let's say it in Spanish. No más Noem. No más Noem. No más Noem. Because women, all immigrants, all citizens, all legal immigrants, everybody deserves to be safe. Women deserve to safe. Women deserve dignity. And you know how we win? We win by doing what we are doing today. We win by living the First Amendment. We win by coming out and protesting and demanding freedom of speech and demanding the right to have our Constitution enforced, because we need accountability. And if we don't get accountability, Democrats and I am going to vote no on the ICE funding. We are going to vote no until we have accountability. And that is what we demand. So let's do it one more time. No must go. No must go. And I want to, at this point in time, introduce the chair of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, Greg Casar. ¿Dónde estás? Greg. Okay. Renee, vamos a avanzar. We're going to introduce, because we have both the Progressive Caucus and the New Dem Caucus, Greg, Representative Schneider.
Good morning. Thank you, Teresa. I want to thank everyone for being here and making our voices heard. I am proud to stand alongside my colleagues from the House Democratic Caucus to defend the rights and the freedoms of the American people and the foundational principles that have defined our nation and determined our character. We are here today angry, enojo. We are here today to deliver one unified message. Kristi Noem must go. This administration and DHS under Noem is undermining our Constitution and tearing up the Bill of Rights right before our eyes. They're spreading fear and chaos across our country with armed, masked federal agents occupying our cities. They're terrorizing our communities. Instead of targeting hardened criminals, they are arresting hardworking neighbors, co-workers, and friends. They are arresting journalists, trashing the First Amendment while trying to hide their injustices and criminal actions from exposure. They have targeted, mobbed, and gunned down American citizens in the streets. Renee Nicole Good and Alex Jeffrey Pretti should be alive and with us today. Renee should be driving her children to school. Alex should be back in the ICU taking care of our veterans. Their tragic deaths are the result of a system that has grown increasingly aggressive, unaccountable, violent, and chaotic. Rather than making our communities safer, Secretary Noem and her minions are making us all less secure in our homes, our schools, our houses of worship, our parks, our public places. Noem has not only facilitated the violence in our communities, she has encouraged it and celebrated it. She has defended it, and she has lied about it, slandering brave Americans to cover up for the crimes of this administration. Congress must not look away at this moment. We must stand up for the lives, rights, and safety of the American people. We must not act to make a statement. We must act to make real, substantial change. That's why last week, I, as chair of the New Democrat Coalition, and my colleague and friend Greg Casar, as chair of the CPC, jointly laid out key reforms needed in DHS operations. We need ICE and CPB out of Minneapolis. We need masks off and body cameras on. We need an end to warrantless arrests and to stop targeting of courts, schools, churches, and other sensitive locations. We need independent investigations into every DHS shooting. And we need to stop deportations of U.S. citizens. Most importantly, we need Kristi Noem out. If Trump doesn't have the sense or the strength to do it himself, Congress must take it upon ourselves to begin impeachment proceedings immediately, conduct a formal impeachment inquiry, build an irrefutable case, and give the Senate no option but to convict on the evidence. America is better than what we are seeing from this administration, and we deserve better than Kristi Noem. And it is my privilege now to turn it over Greg here? To my colleague and friend, Greg Casar.
Go home, no.
Right. Let me turn it over now to Delia Ramirez.
Right, that's right. Another Congressional Caucus leader. So 1 minute, right? We're timing me. But I'm also speaking for Greg. I'm kidding. I'm Congresswoman Delia Catalina Ramirez. I represent Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, representing many parts of the city of Chicago, Northwest part. Look, let me be very blunt, and I'm going to just say it. The greatest threat to the Homeland right now is called the Department of Homeland Security. We have seen the danger in infusing resources into DHS abuse of power. And I'm going to also say something else here. DHS is not rogue, because when it was built to violate our rights and has been empowered to act with impunity. Congress needs to send a message, and it is why we are here today, that we do not consent, nor will we enable DHS and ISIS lawlessness. Yes, Noem has to resign. I've been telling her this since April. There needs to be oversight, and the mask must come off. But also, Americans are past reforms of a department that has used your taxpayer dollars to execute people in broad daylight. This is why the Melt Ice Act ends the Department of Homeland Security's funding to detain and monitor pregnant women, children, neighbors, disrupting immigration enforcement, and then redirecting that money, your money, into the communities that have been impacted, whether it's in Minnesota, in Chicago, in Portland, and all over the country. Here's the bottom line, folks, that I'm getting off before Bonnie pushes me out. We must have accountability, and we must bring justice to every fascist in the administration, and that includes Kristi Noem, that includes Stephen Miller, and that includes Tom Homan. ICE will be abolished, DHS will be dismantled, and together we will get it done. With that, I'd like to now introduce my colleague, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Thank you, Dahlia. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here with you all. I represent Minneapolis, which is currently under occupation. We do not exaggerate when we say we have schools where 2/3 of the students are afraid to go to school. We do not exaggerate when we say we have people who are afraid to go to the hospital because our hospitals have occupying paramilitary forces. We do not exaggerate when we say our restaurants are shutting down because there are not enough people to drive the employees to work and from work. We do not exaggerate when I say we have people who are housing other people because they are afraid to go home. And that is all happening in an American city. We have two neighbors, two of my constituents, who were shot by federal agents as cameras recorded. And their president maligned their name and told us not to believe our eyes. When we say it is time for Kristi Noem to go, we mean it now.
Let's go.
When we say there needs to be accountability for the architect of the terror we are facing in Minneapolis and so many other cities, which is Stephen Miller, we mean we need accountability for him now.
Let's go.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining the call to get ICE out of our cities, for us to dismantle this department that is not just rogue, but unlawful. And yes, obviously, if Kristi Noem does not resign and the president doesn't fire her, Democrats are ready and willing to impeach her.
Go home.
I now call on the great gentleman from California, Congressman Ruiz.
Good doctor. Good doctor.
I want to thank Chairman Espaillat and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus for organizing this rally and press conference, and all the other great leaders from all the other caucuses. I'm here today at the Department of Homeland Security to join my colleagues in demanding accountability for the indiscriminate mass deportation of non-criminal immigrants and killings of U.S. citizens and the United States, here in the United States, that have left our country less safe, from Los Angeles to Chicago and now Minneapolis. Accountability starts at the top, and that is why I'm calling on Secretary Kristi Noem to be impeached and removed from office immediately. Under Secretary Noem's leadership, ICE and CBP have presided over widespread civil and human rights violations, including violent and unlawful arrests, the targeting of non-criminal immigrants, the repression of citizen observers and advocates, and inhumane treatment and conditions inside detention centers. Last year was the deadliest year in over 2 decades, with more than 56 people dying under the custody of ICE and CBP. Families and advocates have raised serious concerns about medical neglect, inadequate care, and unacceptable conditions inside detention facilities. These include severe overcrowding, freezing temperatures with lights kept on around the clock with sleep deprivation, denial of timely and adequate medical care, and the dismissal of serious pain and medical emergencies, like what happened to Luis Beltran Yanes Cruz, who was in the Imperial Valley Detention Center, complained of chest pain. Family called in, says he's having chest pain. They neglected to act. He died days later in John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital in Indio, California, in my district. As a member of Congress, I have a constitutional duty to conduct oversight of federal detention facilities. Yet I have now been denied entry to Adelanto Detention Facility twice, even after adhering to their own policy requirements, when as a member of Congress, by law, I am not required to do so. Blocking congressional oversight is unacceptable, unlawful, and deeply troubling. When oversight is denied, it raises a clear question. What is DHS trying to hide? If they are willing to behave violently and publicly toward non-criminal immigrants and U.S. citizens while the cameras are on, we must ask what is happening inside detention facilities behind closed doors and beyond public view. That is why I introduced the CAC-endorsed Humanitarian Standards for Individuals in ICE and CBP Custody Act to establish enforceable humanitarian standards so that kids and elderly have enough food and water to meet their daily requirements, so that individuals can take a shower, wash their hands without barriers, so that there's hygiene products for women and others, diapers for kids, adequate space to lay down and sleep, so guarantee health screenings to identify emergencies in order to prevent deaths and protect human dignity. Kristi Noem has failed. She has made our country less safe and has violated citizens' due process due to prevent and protect human dignity. She has made our country less safe and more dangerous. When U.S. citizens are driving and pulled over by ICE or CBP, demanding violently to show proof of citizenship, to show them their papers, then anybody who is quote-unquote suspect by the authoritarian regime can be pulled over. And for this, she must be impeached.
Go home now, let's go.
Congresswoman McIver.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. I'm Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and you may not know my name, but Kristi Noem sure does. Because this administration is trying to put me in prison for 17 years for standing up to the department she leads, for standing up to ICE, because that is what this administration does. I represent communities in New Jersey that live in constant fear. Families too terrified to step outside, send their kids to school, go grocery shopping, or take a trip to the doctor because of the harassment of ICE and Homeland Security. And when I stood up to protect them, this administration came after me. Secretary Noem tried to shame me, she tried to embarrass me, and she tried to smear me. But I am not ashamed of doing my job and protecting the people. Kristi, this is for you. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You pretend to be tough. You stage pictures with agents. You call citizens domestic terrorists. And you gleefully terrorize our communities because you are a coward. You are a liar, and you are a threat to the safety of our communities. In my own community and communities across this country, people have died under the watch of DHS. And I have seen with my own eyes the brutal cruelty of the ICE facilities that she has tried to keep us out of, that she is trying to hide from you, the American people. So I say it plain and simple. Kristi Noem must go. And if she does not go, we will impeach her. And I'll give you one final word. I will not rest until she is. Thank you. With that, I would like to call up Rep. Castro.
Good morning, everyone. Last week, Jasmine Crockett and I visited 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and his father, Adrian, at the Dilley Detention Center in Dilley, Texas. While detained, he became lethargic and sick. His father said that he had become very depressed. He was asking about his mother and his classmates, and most of all wanted to go home. But he also said that he was scared of the guards, and he had clearly been traumatized. On Sunday, I took he and his father home to Minnesota. We are all grateful that our prayers were answered. We're all grateful that Liam and his dad are free, but many more children and families remain at the ICE detention facility that Liam and his father were held at and traumatized by. There is a 2-year-old baby in prison there right now. A mother detained with her 2 sons will celebrate her oldest turning 18 tomorrow. She doesn't know if her family will be separated. A mother and father from Venezuela in detention begged for medical attention for their child, who was refused until she needed to be rushed to the ER. And she's a 1-year-old girl. While the warden walked us through the housing units, a young boy walked past me and said, "No school." These children have not been given education for over a year. There's been no education in the Dilley facility for over a year. A mother shared that the water is bad and causes the children to be sick and malnourished. And a girl said that guards are mean to her and don't let her play with the other children. She's now been at Dilley for over 120 days. This is a prison, except not one single person there is a criminal. And I know that's true because ICE told me so. Dilley must be shut down. This is a machinery of cruelty and viciousness that Secretary Noem has overseen. The Trump administration has built, and people like Texas Governor Greg Abbott have been complicit in upholding. We must not allow ICE to kidnap any more children and bring them to prisons where they profit off their pain, misery, and suffering. People are being abused and killed at these facilities. Children's spirits are crushed and their bodies are broken. Congress must put an end to funding this madness and disband ICE. And most of all, Secretary Noem must be impeached and held responsible for her cruelty and disregard for the law. And Americans across the country are standing up and saying that this is not America and that this is not the America that we want. And we must listen. With that, y'all, I'd like to call up, I believe we have Yvette Clark who is here. No? Gil Cisneros? All right.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rep. Gil Cisneros from California. And, as is my right, I went to go visit the Adelanto Detention Center in California, which is a private prison. As required by law, as it's in the law says, right? We can go anytime. Well, they denied me. They said I needed to give them notice, even though the law says I don't need to. So the second time we tried to go, we gave them notice. They denied me again because they said it wasn't long enough. So we tried again, this third time. This time we gave them a week's notice. Finally, they let me in. I met 3 people. They only gave us a couple hours to talk to a few people. So I was able to talk to 3 of them. All of them being held for months, not knowing when they're going to be released, not knowing when their bail hearing is going to be, not knowing what their fate is. Shame. It definitely is shame. And I'll share one story about one individual. It's a woman who came to this country, fell in love, married a United States citizen, and she did come legally, by the way, was doing the right thing. Trying to do the legal process to be able to stay here, to stay with the man she loved, who's a U.S. citizen, checking in like she was supposed to, as they required her to do. For years, this went on that she did this. And then finally, they just picked her up and took her and put her behind bars. A woman who never committed a crime in her life, never been to prison, never been to jail or anything, locked up at this private prison. Finally, they broke her. And she says, even though it's going to separate her from her family, I'm just going to self-deport. For 4 months, they've been holding her. Even though she said, I want to go, just get me out of here. I will go back to my home country. And they're still holding her. And why are they holding her? Because like I said, these are private prisons and they get paid to keep people locked up. That's why they're not letting them go. That's why they're holding people in these temporary detention centers for months. Facilities that were not designed to hold people for long periods of time. This woman is trying to go home and they are denying her that. This is just one of the many reasons Kristi Noem has got to go. She has no respect for animals. She has no respect for people. And she definitely has no respect for the law. So with that, I'm going to call up next Joyce Beatty, Rep. Joyce Beatty.
Thank you. I'm Congresswoman Joyce Beatty from the state of Ohio, Chair Emerita of the Congressional Black Caucus and an executive board member of the Women's Caucus. Let me say to all of our caucus chairs, thank you for being here today, and to all of my members. We are not just standing here today. Leader Hakeem Jeffries has had us in every one of our districts across America, speaking out, holding roundtables. And today we are here because lives are lost and leadership has failed us. Under Secretary Noem, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE have become agencies defined by chaos, cruelty, and a complete disregard for human lives and accountability. Renee Good and Alex Pretti should be alive today, and you will hear this a lot, but instead, families are grieving while this administration lies, stonewalls investigations, disrespects the members of Congress, and refuses to answer to you, the public. That is not enforcement, that's neglect. Masked agents, unmarked vehicles, women thrown to the ground, pregnant women mistreated, and investigations blocked at every turn. So we are standing here. We are writing legislation. We are demanding results because this pattern of abuse is not power. It is an isolated mistake, and let me say it loudly and clearly. No one is above the Constitution, and we will protect our democracy. And to you, Kristi Noem, you must go. And I am so proud to stand with Congresswoman Robin Kelly as she has filed articles of impeachment. Kristi Noem, we're coming after you. We're not afraid of you. And we stand united. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Chuy Garcia.
Thank you. Proud to join my congressional colleagues in saying we need to end state-sponsored violence across America. In the district that I represent, we saw one of the first fatalities occur last September when, after dropping his children off at school, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez was gunned down by ICE agents. And only a few days later, in another part of my district, they shot another constituent who was on her way to her church to deliver some goods 5 times. And they charged her with domestic terrorism and other false charges that would have imprisoned her for many years in jail. However, that case was dropped because it was built on a bunch of lies and faulty evidence. There was no evidence. Videotapes have shown that she was the victim of one more attempted killing of 2 of my constituents. So I'm here today because my district and my neighborhood have been the targets of militarized operations, helicopters flying dangerously low to intimidate residents in my community, including over my home, time and time again. They've used tear gas. They have hit people. They have done everything possible to choke the lifeblood of one of Chicago's most vibrant communities. So today we join together with representatives from all over the country saying enough is enough. Let's end the violence. Let's dismantle ICE. Let's reorganize a system that is rooted in compassion and respect for the Constitution and due process. Thank you. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Representative Nydia Velasquez.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and the 5 Congressional caucus that are here, thank you. It means so much to all of us and to the people in this country. 33 years ago, I used to stand in press conferences discussing immigration. And maybe we counted with the fingers of our hands how many members attended those press conferences. But look at this here. Everyone across the caucus, Democratic caucus, is represented here. And for that, I am very grateful. My question to the Republican leadership in Congress: how many people have to die before Republicans open their eyes? Or maybe I should pose the question differently. How many districts, Republican red districts, you need to lose in order to open your eyes? The secretary has turned the Department of Homeland Security into a lawless federal gang, the Wild West, with Kristi Noem as the rodeo clown. Over the past few weeks, 2 American citizens have been executed in the streets of our country by our own government. ICE no longer function as a law enforcement agency. It's become a rogue operation. Mass agents roam neighborhoods, abduct high school students, use children as bait. A government that hides behind masks, targets kids, and turns courts into ambush zones isn't enforcing the law. It's abusing power and violating rights. The secretary must be fired immediately. Until she has been removed, every abuse, every unlawful raid, every life shattered or lost goes unanswered. Enough is enough. No more masks. No more lies. ICE out. Out. And fire the secretary, because if she doesn't go now, we will impeach her. And now I would like to introduce our friend from California, Judy Chu.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, Chair Emerita of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus and representative of California. And I'm here to say, Kristi Noem must go. Kristi Noem must go. It was in my district in Los Angeles County that the nightmare began. ICE began their roving patrols, terrorizing our community, and I will never forget when people called me because ICE agents came to round up day laborers in Pasadena next to the Winchell's Donuts. And when a witness tried to videotape them, they jumped out of their cars, mask on, unidentified, and pulled a gun and tried to shoot them. They didn't pull the trigger, thank goodness, but it only took months before they did in Minnesota, where 2 American citizens were killed by their own government. Renee Good and Alex Pretti should still be alive today. Renee should be dropping off her kids at school. And Alex Pretti should be at the ICU at the VA. In fact, he died trying to help a woman who'd been pushed to the ground by agents. His last words were, "Are you okay?" And then federal agents shot him in the back 10 times and killed him. So it's clear this is a lawless regime that's waging war on the American people. Rogue federal agents are shooting American citizens dead with total impunity. And Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and Kristi Noem are responding by smearing the victims, rigging the investigations, and lying about what we see with our very own eyes. Well, I tell you, I will never forget my constituent, Carlos Montoya, who was at the Home Depot in Monrovia just trying to get a job when ICE agents came to raid it. And he was so scared that he ran onto the 210 freeway and was killed by an SUV. So it's for Carlos that I say, stop the funding of Homeland Security. It's for Carlos that I say, Kristi Noem must be impeached. And it's for Carlos that I say, ICE, get out of our cities. And so now I would like to call up my neighboring colleague, Norma Torres.
Hey, Norma.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Norma Torres, and I also represent the great donor state of California. I am here to say it loud and clear. Kristi Noem has got to go, but that is just the beginning. We have seen the death toll. We have seen the abuse. We have seen ICE agents assault members of Congress and murder in cold blood American citizens. We have seen crimes committed under the rule of law. And what has been the response of this cowardice administration? Nothing. Zero accountability. Members of Congress blocked from doing our job. Shout out, obstructed. I sued them and I won. And what did they do? They once again are utilizing the court to continue to block us. My office will continue to visit the Adelanto facility in California on a weekly basis, whether you like it or not. And I myself will continue showing up because someone must see the suffering. Someone must document the chaos, and someone must fight for justice. This is not bad policy. This is not assault on our Constitution, on the rule of law, on an American life. And for Secretary Noem to say she is just following Trump and Stephen Miller's order, well, I say to you, you are a disgusting human being. Disgusting. That is not leadership. That is complicity. And we will utilize the court to make sure that you pay for your crimes. We will have our day in court. I encourage everyone to please continue recording because we will not stop and we need your evidence. Body cameras are not going to be enough if they continue to hide the evidence and they have the FBI as their cleanup crew going out there removing evidence and destroying it. So let's continue to be out there and let's continue to have and publicize the evidence we need. Thank you. And my great
colleague and future senator of the great state of Ohio. Chicago, Illinois.
Thank you, everyone. I am Robin Kelly, and I am impeaching Secretary Kristi Noem. Yeah. Kristi Noem brought a reign of terror to cities across the country. Everywhere they go, ICE causes death and destruction. She seems to get her kicks and giggles out of tearing families apart. After her Gestapo agents raided a Chicago apartment in my district with Black Hawk helicopters, she used that same footage in a video as if it was a movie trailer. But this is real life, and real lives are being destroyed and traumatized. Over 185 members of Congress and growing support my impeachment efforts, including members from swing districts to deep blue districts, because we know that Kristi Noem is incompetent and she's dangerous. I'm standing outside of ICE headquarters, and I want Kristi Noem to know I'm watching her. Congress is watching her. But most importantly, the American people are watching her, and we do not like what we see. She must go. She must be impeached. And with that, I introduce my colleague, Rep. Takano from California.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. ICE and CBP are moving like an out-of-control wildfire across our nation. Masked agents moving through our neighborhoods with unmarked cars. People snatched off the streets in broad daylight. Americans gunned down in the streets. This wave of hurt and brutality does not appear out of thin air. It is the direct result of policies coming out of President Trump's and Kristi Noem's playbook. And that is why we are here today to say with one voice, enough! Ya basta! Ya basta! More than 50 people have been gunned down under Kristi Noem and Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. And so many lives changed forever or outright stolen. Renee Good, Severio Villegas Gonzalez, and of course, Alex Pretti. And as the top Democrat on the Veterans Affairs Committee, I meet courageous and noble people like Alex all the time, caring and dedicated individuals on the front lines for America's veterans. For Alex to be shot in broad daylight and then for Kristi Noem to just lie about him so casually, so easily, goes beyond the pale. So much of this destruction has been directed from the top by Noem and her lackeys. It has to end. And so I will repeat what I've been saying. Kristi Noem has got to go. And if Donald Trump will not fire Noem, Congress must impeach her. She is a modern-day fascist parading around with her film and camera crew as she oversees a reign of violence and terror. And Congress cannot give a blank check to fund her brutality. I have voted against funding DHS without accountability reforms, and later today, I will vote exactly the same way. We cannot be afraid to use our leverage to take on this regime. Accountability now, impeachment now, and into business as usual now. All right. And now, my great colleague from San Jose, California, Sam Liccardo.
Friends and fellow Americans, we are cold, we are pissed off, and we are determined. But I have a question for all of you. Are we feeling any safer? No. Hell no, we're not safer. This is a photo of Liam. We all know Liam. We don't know the names of the 3,800 other children who are being detained by ICE. We know the horrors of the shooting of 2 American citizens on the streets of Minneapolis. What don't we know that's not being filmed? My colleague Kelly Morrison was at an ICE detention facility yesterday and saw the heartbreak and horror of dozens of human beings in leg shackles without blankets in a cold facility and inadequate food. These are the horrors every day that this agency is visiting upon our communities. It must stop, and it starts at the top. Kristi Noem must go. With that, I give you to my good friend, Greg Casar. Greg, take it home. Let's go.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Congressman. We are here to demand in one voice the end of Kristi Noem's reign of terror at the Department of Homeland Security. We, members of Congress from across the Democratic caucus, are here in front of the ICE headquarters to demand an end to Donald Trump's mass deportation machine, to demand an end to masked men without badges separating our families, tearing our communities apart, an end to shooting people in broad daylight, an end to arresting thousands of our kids. Donald Trump promised to go after, he said, the worst of the worst, but he has pardoned his millionaire donors who have been convicted of money laundering and fraud. He has pardoned the former president of Honduras for narco trafficking. But he's put our college students in shackles. He's put 5-year-olds like Liam in jail. He's arrested United States veterans and citizens. Are you kidding me? We are united. We are united as Democrats, united as a country, marching in the cold in Minneapolis, facing tear gas from coast to coast, marching to demand that we impeach Kristi Noem, that we end Donald Trump's mass deportation machine, and that we focus on the well-being and the constitutional rights of everyday people in the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Congresswoman Dexter.
Good morning. Thank you for being out here and standing up for the Constitution today. I am Maxine Dexter, a mom, a doctor, and very proud to represent Oregon's 3rd, which includes Portland. I want to take a moment to tell you about my constituent, Diana Crespo. Diana is 7 years old. She loves to paint. She loves to play with her friends. Last month, she had a fever, and her nose wouldn't stop bleeding. Like any concerned parent with a sick kid, her mom and dad tried to take her to a doctor. They never made it inside. Instead, federal agents swarmed their car in the parking lot and abducted them. A friend said the parents were pleading with the agents, begging to just let their child see a doctor. The agents didn't listen. Instead, they sent the family to the Dilley facility in Texas, a detention facility that now has an active measles outbreak. I do not know how Kristi Noem sleeps at night. I do not know how our Republican colleagues stay silent and still look their children in the eyes. This is part of a terror campaign designed to punish families, traumatize children, and scare entire communities into disappearing. Portland spoke out this weekend peacefully, and ICE released chemical munitions on children and labor union members, and the children were as young as 13 years old. This is fascism. We will not normalize this. We can and must choose a different path. We can build a country that leads with compassion instead of cruelty. That starts with impeaching Kristi Noem, and it does not end until ICE is dismantled. Stay loud, my friends, and thank you. I'm now very honored to pass it over to the first-term fighter in Congress, Yasmin Ansari.
Thank you, Maxine. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yasmin Ansari. I'm the proud daughter of Iranian immigrants and the proud congresswoman representing Phoenix, Glendale, and Guadalupe, where over 64 languages are spoken. ICE has been terrorizing our community from the very first day of Trump 2.0. And today, we are standing outside what has turned into the Trump regime's personal paramilitary force turned against the civilian population in this country. Not only are we seeing Americans murdered in cold blood, people terrorized in their workplaces, in their schools, in their churches, but what we are not seeing is arguably even worse, and that is inside the detention centers run by ICE and DHS and 2 for-profit private prison companies, Core Civic and Geo Group, that are making billions of dollars to torture and abuse and mistreat people, and dozens of people have died in ICE detention centers. I have a constituent in my district named Yadi who has been in ICE detention for almost 1 full year now. She has leukemia. She's lost 70 pounds since being in ICE detention. The last time I was there, I personally saw her vomit blood, and an ICE agent tell me that that must just be a side effect of the Advil they are giving her, which is the only thing they have given her for leukemia. It is so disgusting. So we need to end for-profit private prison companies running our detention centers in this country. We have to impeach Kristi Noem. We have to drain ICE of the funding that they were given in the big ugly bill that took from your health care to fund this violence. And ultimately, I got a call from a 80-year-old former Republican in my district this week. First thing he said to me, we need to defund ICE. This is no longer a political issue of what political party you belong to. Everyone is impacted by this terror. So we will defund and dismantle ICE once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being out here in the call. And thank you for your support. God bless you. Keep the faith.